What's up guys, it's Sam here from EDMProd.com, and in this video I'm going to be showing you 5 Ableton workflow tips. Now workflow is important as a producer because it helps with creativity. It helps you get into those flow states where you're just loving what you're doing, loving the process of music production, and it helps you get things finished. So I'm going to share with you 5 tips, like I said, pretty straightforward tips. Some of them you may have come across before, but nonetheless helpful, especially to newer producers. So the first one is to make and save your own instrument and effect racks. So if you aren't aware, I'm sure you are, you can make instrument racks in Ableton. If you go into the instruments section, you'll see that there are a few things here. I haven't got everything because I've got the standard version, but you can drag an instrument rack in, and then you can add things to it, such as synths. I can drag massive in, and I could drag another synth in, like a freeware one. You can do all this kind of stuff. And so this is great with sound design. For example, I might have 2 layers. I might have a pluck, hypothetically, and a saw lead. And then I've got this awesome sounding synth or patch layer, whatever you want to call it. And I can simply save this by clicking the save icon and then call it something like pluck plus lead. You get the idea. So instrument racks are great for workflow because then if you're starting a new track, you can simply go into your user library, go into instrument rack and just chuck it in when that's the sound you're looking for. And you can do exactly the same thing with audio effect racks. So I might have an audio effect rack that has an EQ, a high pass, has a reverb on it, and maybe a redux as well. And then what I can do is I can save this and call it something like verb plus redux. So whenever I need to use that, I can just simply drag it in instead of going through that process of adding an EQ, a reverb, and a redux. Now that isn't the best example, but you will notice that it's a lot quicker than adding 3 plugins in. So save everything and use it again. Now the next tip I want to show you is to use locators. Now you might not do this, but in arrangement view you can add locators by right clicking up here just above the tracks and clicking add locator. Then you can name it something like verse, or we can make one called chorus, or even something like build up. Now, why would you do this? First of all, it's a great way to keep organized and know where you are when you're producing. Of course, you can look at sections of the song and work it out, but it's far quicker to just look at these labels and go, okay, this is the chorus section. I want to work on the chorus, so I'm going to start here. Now, one thing that's awesome about these locators is that you can set them as song start times. So if you're sick of trying to work on one section and whenever you click play it goes right back to the start, and you can come down to a locator, right click on it and click set song start time here. So whenever I click play now, it starts from that locator. That's a really awesome tip. And you can also loop to the next locator. For example, if we wanted to work on these 16 bars here, we could simply loop to the next locator and then we're done. So using locators is a great way to speed up your workflow. Just work a lot more efficiently and enjoy the process. The third tip is to set defaults. So you'll notice before that when I dragged my EQ into an audio effect rack, that it's set up like this. Now yours is probably set up something like that. What I've done is I've saved the EQ as a default. So I basically dragged it in, put that high pass on and a little bit of a low pass, and then I right clicked and went to save as default preset. Now the reason I did this is because most, or let's say 90% of channels that I place this EQ on don't need anything below 100 Hertz. So I'm saving time by having that as a default preset. I don't need to set that up every time. And you can do this with every single audio effect, native Ableton audio effect. For example, you might often use redux in the soft mode and have it averaging around 3 or so, and then you might save that as a default preset and so on. So that's a really helpful tip that will speed up your workflow big time. So save defaults. And the fourth tip is to use draw mode. Now, this is a feature I'm sure you've come across. If you click up here, you can activate draw mode. And this is great for automation and plotting in notes. So if we're making a melody, for example, we could have this off and simply double click in notes, or we could turn it on and single click plot notes. And that's just way quicker, much faster way to work. Now it's the same with automation. If we automate, for example, the volume of a track and we want to just mute it in one section, the slow way to do it is to not use draw mode and go in, select a section and pull it down. The fast way to do it is to grab the draw tool and just go like that. Very simple, very quick. So that's draw mode for you, and make sure to activate and deactivate it and get used to doing that. Now the last tip is to use macros. If you use an instrument or audio effect track, you can use macros. So we might have, let's see, an audio effect track with an auto filter and a reverb. And let's say we want to automate it so that the auto filter goes up in frequency while the dry wet on the reverb increases. One way to do this would be to automate both individually, but there's a faster way to do it. If we click on this little icon here on the audio effect track, you get 8 of these macros, and these allow you to automate parameters, automate more than one parameter at the same time. So we can map the frequency to macro 1, and we can map this dry wet to frequency. And now when I move this knob up, you'll see that both of them are going up at the same time. And this just saves time and it saves clutter in the arrangement. And there are quite a few things you can do with that. And then I could, of course, save this to a new audio effect track, call it high pass plus reverb, and I've got a simple effect that can be used instantly. So there are 5 tips in Ableton. If you have any yourself, do comment below. I'd love to hear your workflow tip. Ableton's a very comprehensive program, and I'm sure there are things that I've missed out. But yeah, if you have any questions, do comment. Otherwise, peace.